This is Major Stories. Good evening again. I am Joel Crosskill. Opposition spokesperson on energy and mining, Philip Powell, is calling on the government to institute a new regulatory body to oversee the telecommunications sector, specifically as a means of holding the telecom companies to account when in breach of minimum service requirements. The details in this report. Jamaica's appetite for telecommunications appears to be outstripping the capacity of service providers, and a recent deterioration in the quality of voice and data services by the island's two major telecoms has piqued the attention of the Minister with Responsibility, Favour Williams, who addressed the lower house on some of the impediments affecting Digicel and Flow.
It is clear, after my conversations with the OUR and reading their press release, and after meeting with the telecom providers, the issues faced by operators can be distilled into three buckets. Number one, investments in modernizing networks have not been fast enough to keep a pace with the growing bandwidth demand of consumers and applications, and thus today's infrastructure is inadequate.
The second factor is a high dependency on a single fixed infrastructure that provides little redundancies. Minister Williams described the third factor:
the significant issue of the rising incidences of theft and vandalism of network equipment, for which there is a need for much stiffer penalties in order to give the telecom providers a fighting chance at maintaining resilience in their network.
Speaking in place of opposition spokesperson for Science, Energy and Technology, Julian Robinson, Philip Powell identified potential solutions to Jamaica's data doldrums.
The way to get competition, Minister, is to promote competition, is to make the cost of entry less and to encourage investors.
Mr. Powell added that it is time for Jamaica to strip the OUR of responsibility and adopt a specialist regulator to oversee the sector. The government has amended the age at importation on the motor vehicle import policy. The Trade Board says come 2020, motorists can import 6-year-old cars and up to 30 years for commercial vehicles. But the changes are already triggering mixed reactions from the car dealership industry and environmentalists. Jamaica Maitland reports.
Several players within the car dealership industry are welcoming the move for the extension of the age of importation for older motor vehicles. But with the drive for going green and growing traffic congestion, environmentalists argue, are we going in the right direction? Car dealer Kenneth Shaw of Cass Auto Sales and Service welcomes the new import policies. Mr. Shaw said it will foster competition, increase commercial activity, and promote greater administration and record keeping. Shaw, who is a past president of the Used Car Dealers Association, said it will give more people a chance to own a vehicle.
The banks are financing the 6-year-old cars, so several banks still have 100% financing on them, so that will be good for the motoring public, and consumers who wish to purchase. So all in all, I think it's a very good move by the Trade Board to regularize their system and at the same time to give the consuming public a little more leverage in buying what they can afford to buy.
The limit for small trucks, panel vans and window vans has increased from 6 years to 10 years. Hence, dealers and individuals can now import 2009 vehicles. But environmentalist Peter Espute argues that as countries strive to become more eco-friendly, the changes move Jamaica further away from global trends. He argues that older vehicles release more carbon emissions.
I didn't realize that there was a shortage of the newer vehicles coming in, so that we had to change the standard to bring in older ones. This is going to cause all sorts of problems. The older vehicles do not have that were not built to the same standards as the more modern vehicles, where the emissions are controlled to cause less pollution.
Mr. Dispute says more cars mean more roads are required.
We should be building rapid transit systems, light rail from Pakine to Portmore and from downtown to Huntston Spring, so that there are less cars on the road. We don't need more cars on the road. That's nonsense.
Jamila Maitland for CVM Live.
Come January 2020, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council will replace the Jamaica Diaspora Advisory Board, which was established back in 2004. Currently, the advisory board consists of 8 sitting members from Canada, the United Kingdom and the United States of America. But the new council will have 28 members, spanning across the globe. Robian Williams has been tracking the development of the council and has this follow-up.
Since the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade announced the commissioning of a new body, the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, calls are increasing for more consultations to be had, and also the issue of political interference has been raised. But with the nomination process already underway, the ministry is assuring that the diaspora stands united.
Speaking on CVM Live recently, Wayne Golding, a member of the Jamaica Diaspora Advisory Board from Southern USA, explains why the change is essential.
It's a necessary change because Jamaicans are at every corner of the globe. And just having the voices of Jamaicans heard from the 3 major continents that we're, occupying currently, which is England, Canada, and the USA, it's changed because we have Jamaicans located in the Middle East, in Africa, in South America, all across the Caribbean.
Golding adds that the new council will allow the change from regional representation as it will involve the youth, 7 of whom will be a part of the council. He addressed the claims of inadequate consultations.
We had at least 8 board meetings discussing the policy, also discussing what the council was going to be about, setting the terms of reference, which people can go online and read. These things are factual. It's not stuff that's made up.
But the opposition and several interested parties have made calls to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade not to politicize the council.
And one of the things that we have made clear from the diaspora is that our involvement is for the growth of Jamaica and Jamaicans where they are. It's not about politics, it's apolitical.
Golden likens the concerns to a tempest in a teapot.
Facts speak for themselves. And if folks are really interested in learning the facts, because I don't want to color somebody's opinion, I just invite you to read one document, the terms of reference.
Registration for voting and the nomination process is already underway and closes on November 17. The election period will run from November 21 to December 15. Robian Williams for CVM Live.
And that over the last 2 to 3 decades, Jamaica's waste stream has evolved to become increasingly non-biodegradable. So you're seeing increasing amounts of single-use plastic in the garbage that we are generating, right? And what this ban does is try to reverse that trend. It actually takes those items out of the market and therefore out of the waste stream.
Stanley maintains that manufacturers and distributors were given enough time to source alternatives.
Business owners should be making their final preparations. It's not as if it was sprung up on them. I've noticed that there are some restaurants and cook shops who have already started the transition and they've taken a proactive approach to the ban, just knowing that it is coming. They're using biodegradable food containers instead of the styrofoam already, even though it is not required under law.
But are Jamaicans ready to deal with another plastic ban?
There is a lot of resistance to this change. It's human nature to be resistant to change. You become so used to the convenience of the styrofoam and the plastic bags and the straws and so. And it does take, remembering, for example, to bring your reusable bag or to bring your reusable container. With public education and enforcement, that we can get there and we can improve the way solid waste management is done in Jamaica.
The Jamaica Employers Federation and Confederation of Trade Unions recently held a labour forum at the University of the West Indies, Mona, in an effort to develop inclusive economic growth through shared perspectives. Members of the private sector, trade unions and employers participated in discussions regarding labour relations and industrial disputes, the future of the workforce and the labour market reform. Robian Williams has the details in this report.
The Labour Forum was held with the aim of developing the relationship between employers, employees and trade unions with a view to reaching a common workable arrangement for all parties. President of the Jamaica Employers Federation, David Wan, highlights some of the pressing issues for the labour force.
The matter of the contract labour, if we don't resolve that, it is possible that several industry players could have to go out of business if it's not resolved in an amicable way.